another episode of Halftimes and Harmonies. And today, as promised, I'm bringing part two of the World Cup recap. Last week, I went over kind of the breakdown of what happened in the World Cup, who won, and kind of my overall thoughts about what went down in Australia/New Zealand. There's been some other news that have come out. Unfortunately, it's just been very negative news or surrounding the Spanish Football Federation, and so it's very unfortunate. I will not be discussing those, but just want to say that it's an unfortunate situation, and hopefully good comes out of it. But yeah. Anyways, we're going to switch back into a little bit more domestic. So we're going to come back to the United States. Yes, and now, as I said last time, the United States did get knocked out in the knockout stages. They scraped by in the group and made it to the knockout stages. So in the round of 16, they went up against Sweden, and that game got pretty tense. Nobody scored in the first 90 minutes of play, plus stoppage time, and overtime, the 30 minutes of overtime that was added on. Nobody scored in that either. So the game went to PKs, and it took like 6 frames, I think, or 7 frames to declare a winner. Alyssa Nair, absolutely ice in her veins with her PK, and she did her best, and it was just mere inches that the Swedish won by. But so unfortunately, the United States, they were knocked out in the earliest exit of all time, because every single other time the United States has been in the tournament, they've either made it to the championship game, they've either won the championship game, made it to the championship game, or at least made it to the semifinals / the third place game. So yeah, this is the earliest exit in tournament history, which really brought a lot of questions to the management of the team. And manager Vlatko Andonovski resigned. I think that news came out last week, that he resigned instead of getting fired. I think he just wanted to take powers into his own hands, because he knew he was about to get fired, because he has provided, I think, the worst output that the United States women's national team has seen in all of its existence, with a bronze medal in the Olympics, and just barely getting that bronze medal in the Olympics, and also getting knocked out of the World Cup in the round of 16 for the first time ever. So so he's had a lot of criticism since really 2021, since the Olympics. I do believe this time around it was a little tougher for him, simply because there were so many injuries to important players like Sam Mewis and Christian Press and Tobin Heath and not Sophia Smith. Mallory Swanson. Gotta say Swanson now, because it's not Pugh anymore. And also, I'm thinking one more. Katerina Macario. She was also injured as well. They actually would have definitely made a difference in the tournament for sure, but he did have a good set of players with people like, Sophia Smith. I think Roosevelt was a little limited due to injuries, but, he still had Megan Rapinoe, Alex Morgan, Alyssa Nair in the goal, and Becky Sauerbrunn was also missing, which is big for the defense. There was a lot. He had some formational issues. And apparently, Lindsey Horan went on a podcast that Tobin Heath and Christian Press were hosting throughout the entire World Cup. She went on there, and she basically said that during that Sweden game, the reason why they played so well during that Sweden game was because they basically took matters into their own hands. They got together and were just like, screw it. we're going to do it ourselves. And so they basically figured out a lot of stuff and kind of ignored what the coaches said simply because they were just sick and tired of what was going on. And so they finally played cohesively and basically were playing the best that they had all tournament. And unfortunately, it just came down to a matter of not even inches, millimeters. But yeah, it's really kind of sad to see, a coach do not so hot. Although he was long overdue for his resignation. It's unfortunate, but future is bright. There's a lot of young players that are up and coming, and that will definitely be carrying the team from now on, like Sophia Smith and like Alyssa Thompson, the 18-year-old, Trinity Rodman, she's about 20, and in the back line we have Naomi Girma, who's about 23-ish. So yeah, we got some good young core to build upon. We've got lots of good middle-aged veterans, I'd say. Folks who are in their late 20s, early 30s, like a Christy Muse, like a Crystal Dunn, like a Rose Lavelle, and whenever Mallory Swanson gets back, she'll be great. She'll be great too. But the future is bright, and for all those who are like, "Oh, the world is catching up," they are. But at the same time, we still have a lot to be proud of and a lot to focus on here in the States, and we'll definitely be back at the top pretty soon. We've got a lot of folks leaving, but we've got a lot of folks coming up. And with a little bit of clearing house, we'll be able to get everything right back on track in the way it's supposed to be, and winning World Cups and Olympics. And that's also another thing. The Olympics are coming up next summer in 2024 in Paris. And so that'll be also a very good test. And we'll see if we have a new coach by then. And if we do, we'll see how that new coach does. But in time, but right now we have our interim coach who will be coaching against a couple of friendlies against Colombia and then South Africa later on in the year, where Megan Rapinoe will be playing her final U.S. national team match, which is pretty sad, but we're grateful for all that she provided to the team. Another big thing was that they only scored 3 goals in 4 games. Now, in comparison to the 2019 World Cup, they outscored their opponents, I'm pretty sure, somewhere in the mid-20s, like 23, 24 to like 3 or 4. Yeah. It was a lot to a little. There was like 5 shutouts, and including in the championship game, and a lot of good goal scoring, lots of good goal scorers. 2 players on the team had 5 goals. Granted, Alex Morgan did only have like 5 goals in one game, and then scored another against England, but Megan Rapinoe had 6 as well. But still, there's a lot of like multi-goal scorers on that 2019 squad, and there's a lot of help in the back line with Sauerbrunn and Dahlkemper back there, and of course Alyssa Nair holding it down. But that's besides the point. That's in the past. We're looking towards the future, ladies and gentlemen. We are looking towards the future, and the future is bright for the United States national team, women's national team. The men, that is a completely different story, and I can talk about them later. But thank you guys so much for joining me. And next week, we will be having a special interview next week. And I'm so excited to announce the guest for next week. So y'all stay tuned for that. And as always, adios, ciao, and goodbye.